Good morning, I'm Mesdeline, and today's oracle card is Releasing Allegiances. It is time to hold on to yourself and let go of another, even if it is just for a time. You have gained all that was meant to be from that connection, at least for now. You have given and you have received. The need to let go does not deny the value of what has been acquired. It is more that the time has come for greater productivity, creativity, abundance, and consciousness in your life. You have completed many cycles in the vibrational frequency of consciousness that you are now being asked to release. You have been in that vibrational frequency for some time now. You have earned the right to step out of that frequency, out of the habits, relationships, and the possibilities that are limited to that outmoded frequency. It is now time to expand into higher frequencies of experience that will bring enhanced love, empowerment, and peace into your life. You will take the wisdom of what you have learned with you into something new. New connections, new relationships, new life experiences at a higher turn of the spiral of life. But first, you. Trust that you can step into solitude for a time without being consumed by loneliness. It is time to reconnect with yourself. Perhaps you have had a period of outward orientation where your energy has been diverted away from the inner journey of self-discovery and creative self-expression and into the world of lists, schedules, and demands. Trust that you may need to step back momentarily, even from your healthy relationships and commitments, to refresh your spirit by reconnecting with your own nature in solitude. Perhaps you've been diving so deep into the creative waters that you've lost your bearings or your energetic connection to the earth, your own life, and your needs in the here and now. Either way, you need to come back to the ground of your own body. This is a time for self-love, for paying attention to yourself, for nurturing, holding, and being with you. It doesn't mean you can't love another, it just means you need to turn your attention inwards for a time, for some quality time with you. You will emerge renewed, refreshed, and clearer about your journey and your relationships as a result of this. This oracle is also confirmation that the work you've been doing on yourself is working for you. Your level of self-love is growing, and your ability to love consciously and healthily is increasing as a result. Some connections in your life will mature along with you, and your regard and affection will deepen and blossom. It will be revealed that other relationships are no longer relevant to your life journey. You will know which is which because you will feel it. You will feel it most clearly when you have some time to be with yourself in reconnection. If you've been contemplating a change in lifestyle, enrolling in a class, or joining a group, starting a project, or setting aside time to focus on your inner work, then this oracle comes as confirmation that these things would be supportive, healthy, and helpful for you. This oracle also comes with particular guidance. There's a situation that has recently arisen or will arise soon where you need to back yourself. Don't be put upon or hoodwinked into backing down by the emotional reaction of others. Stand your ground and stay aligned with what you know to be true, no matter how wonderful something seems logically or on the surface. If it doesn't feel right for you, it is not for you at this time. Perhaps that will change and it will be right for you later. Perhaps you will step away and realize with relief that you had a lucky escape from a situation that would have ended up unnecessarily costing you. Either way, backing yourself and not giving in to the opinion of another, no matter how highly you would have rated that opinion in the past, is important. It is highly likely that you are breaking with tradition, with a role model or belief system that you have outgrown. You must be there for yourself because you are doing well. You are on the right path and you are growing. Well done. So that in this card, she's holding herself. She also has bees on her, And I know maybe for some of you who are allergic to bees, that might be kind of a scary picture, but bees are just gentle folk. They are gentle honeybees. I'm not talking wasps, okay? Honeybees are gentle, beautiful souls. And it's all about, we have people are afraid of things sometimes that there's no reason to be afraid of because they don't know any different. They hear bees sting, bees, whatever. I have a couple of bee stories, but one was my son. There was a beehive in the side of his bedroom, and the outside of his bedroom there was this beehive, and he had one door out. It was like a studio apartment on my property, and he called me on his cell phone. I'm thinking, why is he calling me? He's just right across the yard, right? And he says, Mom, I can't get out. There's thousands of bees. And I said, well, just walk out through them. And he goes, no. And so I said, okay, I'll be right there. And there was a swarm. And I mean, there was thousands of bees around his door, thousands. It was so amazing. And so I just slowly walked through the bees and opened his door. And he's looking at me like, what? And I said, come on. And I walked him out through the thousands cloud of bees, right? Bees, they're not going to hurt you, honeybees. So, but when it comes to this, this thing, the picture of her with the bees on her reminded me of the Melissae, and that's the ancient Greek bee priestesses. And there's just so much I could say about bees. But anyway, I went through a time out, like this is talking about, that going inward and taking care of myself. And one time it was spring, and that hive of bees, of course, they were out I had 2 apple trees in the front yard, and I walked outside and I could hear this buzzing, just this low, buzzing. And I thought, what is that? And then I realized it was the bees, and I walked over into the tree. There was, hundreds of bees all going, from flower to flower, pollinating. And I just stood there with my eyes closed, with my back against this big apple tree, and just let that humming fill me up, right? Just let that energy of the tree and the bees, sustaining our life force, because without them we would have, there wouldn't be pollinating, and we'd be in big trouble. And just thinking of all those things, and I just think that, those of us who are on a spiritual path sometimes step out of the norm, right? Being on a spiritual path, I can walk through bees. I think anybody can do it, but, and other people would think that's crazy, right? Being on a spiritual path takes us places that other people don't get to go. We see magic, we see miracles, because we're willing to take that time for ourselves, to give ourselves that time out, to give ourselves that self-love, to surround ourselves with self-understanding, and we open ourselves up to the divinely unconditional healing love of light, okay? And through that, we have epiphanies happen one after another. So, it talks about it's releasing allegiances. So it's women, the Dalai Lama says the Western woman will save the world. And for some reason, there's something about, women are I talked to a very spiritual Jewish man one time, and I asked him, how come women aren't allowed to read I can't think of what it's called anyway, it's a Talmud, anyway, it's a sacred Jewish text. And he says it's not that they're not allowed to read it, only men read it because women don't need to. they naturally have what as men we're trying to get, and that is that sacred connection to the divine. And I was like blown away. Whoa, right? And so as women, we have the power to create change. We have the power to step out of the norm, to release allegiances that no longer feed us. For instance, all the women I've met that have left the Catholic Church and the Mormon Church and the Baptist Church, and because they were in a situation where women were not listened to, they were subjugated, they were kept down, right? It's a patriarchal hierarchy of whatever, right? A lot of the Christian churches. And I'm not saying there's something bad about Christianity itself. It's that patriarchal expression of it, right? And so these women, they leave that allegiance, but they take, none of them hate Jesus or anything like that. They love Jesus. They don't love the patriarchal structure. And so they leave that and they go forward. Sue Monk Kidd wrote a wonderful book called Dance of the Dissident Daughter. I can't remember, A Woman's Journey from Christianity to the Divine Feminine, I think is the subtitle. And she's very spiritual, and she's very highly aware, and she's released that allegiance of the Catholic, or not Catholic, but I think it was Baptist Church, and she blossomed into so much more. One of her books has sold over 6 million copies in 36 languages, right? It's hard to step away from some of the allegiances. Another example is, on a different level, these women who fought for us to have the right to vote, for women to vote. We're people too, right? But we didn't have the right to vote over 100 years ago. And women fought for that right. They had to step away and release allegiances that were telling them that they didn't have that right? That they weren't worthy of voting or whatever it was. They had to step away from that, and they had to listen to their own calling. And I don't know if they were on a spiritual path or not. All I know is that they changed history, right? Because they listened to their own calling. They released the allegiances that were holding them back and keeping them down, right? And so that's what this card to me is about. It's releasing the allegiances we have to what no longer serves us, what is no longer to our highest good, what no longer feeds our soul, so that we can open up to what is to our highest good. We can open up to what does feed our soul, what does nourish our spirituality, what nourishes who we are, and so that our worlds can expand and open up, and we can be an example for others, and we can create what we want to create. We can live our dreams. And that's what sometimes it takes, is that hard thing of stepping away. It doesn't mean you don't love whoever anymore, or it's not about that. It's about stepping away so that more can come in. So, blessings to all of you, and I hope that you can take some time for yourself to hold yourself and love yourself and give to yourself what you need. And it's not about being lonely. It's about taking some alone time, and that's okay. It's just, I don't care if it's a few minutes or a few days, right? I love you. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the wonder of the universe.